Hey, what's good, everybody? It's the coach from Driving the Line behind the turnbuckle, Amazon Prime Stadium. Wherever you see me, I'm golfing for SabesWings.
Welcome back to another episode of the Jim on Base Show. We're here at Paso Robles with the great Jonathan Coachman. And, Coach, it's good to see you. What brings you out today?
Well, it's great to be seen, first and foremost. But you got to understand that this is a big event in wine country, and this is my third year being the MC. And I can humbly say, Jim, that since I took over the emceeing of this, it has just exploded. It really has. They called me last minute a couple of years ago. Mike Golick, a famous, Mike.
Friend of the show.
He's a friend of your.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got to. No, I'm kidding. And so he lives in Connecticut, and now I live out here in California. So they called and they said we need an absolute star, and we can think of nobody that has a shinier head than you. And so last minute, and the fall's very busy for us. At that time, I was at CBS Sports. Now I have my own brands that are, on Amazon Prime and all these different channels. And so I literally came up, I'll golf real quick tomorrow, race back home, and do our evening show. But as you know, when you're building a brand and building your own brand, and now the way the media is, that if you don't do your own thing like a Pat McAfee or some other big ones, you could be on the chopping block at any time. So I've kind of been through the ups and downs of all the different times in media. And after COVID is really when everybody started. I think that's when you started your show, right? During COVID? Yeah, I remember. And so after COVID, everything's changed. And I realized that people want to do things together. They want to be included. And then there's so much remote work, media, whatever. When I was at ESPN, I was there for a decade. You may know they call it the worldwide leader. And you never would have caught anybody in a remote setting, meaning every athlete came to Bristol, and we used to have big movie stars, Rock would come, Magic Johnson, and then it got to the point after COVID, they're like, wait a second, you mean we can save all this money and people can stay in their houses and they can have cameras like this? And so it really changed the game. And that's what we're trying to do. So we use the term changing the game because so many people are so used to doing things a certain way. We try to do it a completely different way. And slowly but surely, I think we're making some headway.
Well, it's great to see you out here. And since you are in the sports world, I always love to ask people, who were your favorite teams and players growing up?
Well, you're not going to believe this just because we're at SabesWings, but I grew up in Kansas, and I was born and raised in Kansas. My parents still live in Kansas. They live in a town called Salina, Kansas, which is right on I-70. Royal Stadium is also right on I-70. And so if you walk out of my parents' house, you drive 2 miles to get on the highway, you drive 3 hours east, you're going to run into Royal Stadium. So when I was growing up, my parents couldn't afford a lot. My dad's a minister, my mother was a school teacher. And so our vacation every year was a Royals game. $3 general admission tickets, and then also we went to a place called Worlds of Fun, and you could buy tickets for like $6 after 11 a.m. or noon, whatever it was. And so that's how I grew up. And one of my favorite things was watching on Cake TV Channel 10 in 1985. I was super young, and watching Bret and George Brett, my two heroes. Yeah. And I was a basketball player and a baseball player growing up. I played college basketball. And so when I met Brett and we became friends, it was like so cool, even though I'm much younger than him. I mean, much younger, clearly. But I said, I can be a part of what he's doing, and then you see what he's doing here. So I'm a huge Royals fan, a huge Chiefs fan to this day. And the last few years being a Chiefs fan hasn't been too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
And then in 2015, 2016, when I was still at ESPN, I got to cover the Royals winning a World Series. So that was pretty awesome, too.
So it's obviously totally full circle.
Completely full circle. And don't think for a second, I'm in my reflective mode, even though I still consider myself relatively young. You go through this reflective mode because I've done everything in this business that I ever wanted to do. Because I think sometimes when you dream, you say, man, I want to be here. And for me, here was ESPN. Well, I took a 10-year detour and was in the WWE, and I traveled all over the world. I went to over 100 countries, and I got to work with guys like The Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin, and that was super cool. And then right when I was fed up and I was done, I said, man, if I stay here any longer, because you travel every single week when you're doing pro wrestling. When I mean every week, there is not even Christmas do you have off. And so you get to a point, I was having, I have 2 children, and my daughter was being born, and I was like, man, I can't continue to live this lifestyle. I got very lucky that one woman who just happened to be the senior VP of talent at ESPN, I sent her my tape, and I said, I am really wanting to get out of the wrestling world. And she gave me my chance, and she gave me my opportunity. So I tell kids all the time, if I'm speaking at a college or a high school or just to a journalism class, whatever, I say, listen, you never know. But it's not like you need 100 opportunities to get one. Sometimes you just need one, because it happened to me. I had one opportunity to get into the WWE, one opportunity to get into ESPN, but you've got to be there and you got to be ready in order to capitalize on that opportunity. It's just like your show. You never know when you're going to run into a superstar like me that could help, amplify your show, It's how it works.
Well, I got to say, you've done all these cool things. You've met all these great people.
Yeah.
Does that mean your kids think you're cool, or are you still trying? Or
My kids are in high school now, and I do work for the PGA Tour now. I'm one of their play-by-play voices. So my son's a scratch golfer.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he shot. In fact, he called me right before I came today, and he shot an even par 72 today. He's only 14, and so I'm cool with him. But I got to tell you, it's not even a matter if I'm cool. My daughter's 16. She doesn't want to spend time with me. But my son, we golf together 4 or 5 days a week, and so that relationship that a lot of dads struggle with at that age is so much better because of the game of golf. And for 3 years now, he's like, Dad, when are you going to take me to SabesWings? And, he's got school. He's got things going on. But I promised him that next year I'll bring him with me so he can play in the golf tournament.
Very cool. Well, I'll be keeping an eye out for next year then.
Yep.
And, Coach, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on.
You too. You too. Good luck with everything. I also work with a guy named Will Hogue. He's a world long drive champion.
Okay.
He's also a firefighter.
Oh, really? Okay.
In Memphis, Tennessee. I kid you not. And so you never know all the things you can do starting in the firehouse. Awesome. So much respect. Much respect.
Awesome. Thanks, man.
Nice to meet you.